was a conversation.
We are officially live.
Sweet.
Yes.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
We're live.
Hello.
It's happening in real time.
In like a
I say that every time.
ball.
On video this time, too.
On video, yeah, we figured out our video issues. I think
We're live in
I'm gonna
stop
be
motion.
checking the-
It's the Riffsters this
I'm
moment.
gonna be checking the audio.
We're going to do claymation next week.
Ooh, have you guys seen the preview of that claymation movie where it's like the
What?
prehistoric people they're playing soccer against
Early
the
Man?
Romans?
That's
yeah,
out.
Early Man. Early
That's
Man.
out.
Yeah, that's like the same people who made Chicken Run, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, is it all practical?
be a pie.
Yes.
like gravy.
I don't know why I love that movie so much, but I do. And it's really dark.
It's very dark.
It's super dark. Speaking of movies.
Okay, so I think we're pretty good on audio.
Sweet.
Awesome.
It's looking solid. If you guys are watching, whoever tunes in, whoever joins, if for some reason the audio is weird, we're reading your comments, so go ahead and comment in and let us know that the audio is weird.
And if Julian doesn't read it, blame him.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
skip the
accurate.
intro.
If you, in case you haven't noticed, we're doing a little bit of a different sort of setup this week. We're not really going to be addressing the camera much. We realized last week that we liked this a lot better when we were just talking to each other. And it
Makes
seems
for a better
little bit more-
podcast.
Yeah,
It
it just seems a
does.
little bit more organic.
There's a little more.
So we're going to try that out. But we are still reading your comments, so feel free to comment in as you join. So it says we have one person watching. Which is
Woohoo! Hi, one
Um,
person.
so I'm going to say hello, everyone, just so everyone knows we're here. So today's topic is Black Panther.
Yeah.
Should we do a formal spoiler warning?
Do we have any opening
Yes.
remarks, I guess, before?
Spoiler warning.
And I guess, yeah, we all saw it preview night
We did. We
that
did.
Thursday. I'm pretty sure all of us enjoyed it
Yes.
heavily.
Yeah,
I haven't stopped thinking about it since Thursday night when
She
we
really
saw
hasn't.
it. I really haven't.
I haven't stopped thinking about Michael B. Jordan, honestly. But
Yeah.
I'm Chadwick Boseman, actually. I was Michael B. Jordan going in, Chadwick Boseman going out.
I was a little bit of both.
that
but
that branding, I was like, yes.
I just really enjoyed how many women on Twitter were like, Michael B. Jordan is pretty fucked up in this movie, but he can still get it. Like that was such a comment. It's gotta be a
See,
good.
I saw a lot of
good
people
feeling.
not saying he was fucked up.
Or like, yeah, a lot of people.
I see a lot of people agreeing with him.
yeah.
Well, that kind of is like a good segue into. I've developed some discussion questions for us just to help get things started. If it goes somewhere else, fine. But 3 things that I'm always interested in when we see movies, that of everyone's opinion on these things, is everyone's favorite scene, everyone's favorite line, and everyone's favorite character. That's and I think particularly the third one works well for this movie because there's so many good characters. So we don't have to go in any order. I just want to throw it out there.
So the first thing that stuck out is for character, and this is one of the first things I say every time someone asks me about it is Shuri,
Right.
the sister.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think their dynamic is the best part of the movie. Anytime they're on screen together, or even when they're communicating with each other, I always thought that was the best part of the movie. And overall, she's my favorite character. I thought like her level of humor and sass was like the perfect amount where it didn't go overboard, and it's like you're the comic relief, like, and you just kind of get that title, but it was a believable sibling dynamic that didn't fall into like sibling rivalry either, where a lot of movies do.
So
Yeah.
I didn't know. Speaking of Shuri, because she was also one of my favorite characters. I
Yeah.
had no idea that the whole like. But I have one question. What are those? I didn't know that was. I mean, I know you said it. I remember you saying it in the theater, and I was like, you kept saying it took you out of it because they made it a meme, and I thought you just meant like that it was like a memeable moment.
No.
I didn't realize.
It was
Did
an
you guys
actual
know
moment.
that? That's
Yeah.
a
I
literal.
didn't know that. Yeah.
That's a literal meme.
like 2 years ago, maybe.
I had to
maybe
go
3?
digging, and I found like the original Vine that was
The cop?
The cop,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't a Vine person, so that's why I didn't know about it.
But you said you didn't like it. Here's a counter to that. Here's why I think that was great. Because in the world of Black Panther, Shuri is like super smart, super sarcastic, witty. She would be the person like trolling people on the internet. She would be the person on the internet, on Reddit. She's so smart she would be privy to that. So I kind of thought it was I mean, maybe I'm reading into this, but I thought it was them saying she's such a cool character that she would know that meme and would make fun of her brother.
I
Yeah.
think it's because it's like online it was a particularly Black thing. It was just like adding like another artifact into the movie.
So you thought it was a little bit like inorganic in that it was like a forced, like kind of like a black meme. Is that kind of?
I mean, a little bit. It like completely took me out of Wakanda basically and brought me back to the internet.
Okay.
Like
I think they're isolationist country, and they have like an isolationist policy, but I don't think they're cut off from the world though. Like
Yeah,
they
they
monitor
do
the
that.
politics. So yeah, so I think
I'm not saying she wouldn't know that.
yeah.
I'm saying she like me watching it. That was like
That's fair.
very unenjoyable.
That's
moment.
interesting because I thought it like now that I know it's like an actual meme. The more I've thought about it, the more I feel like it really added like a layer to her character. Where I was like, she feels like a real person, which she already did. But I don't know. It's funny. It's interesting that we have different takes on that.
Not knowing it was a meme, I thought it was just a cute brotherly sister like moment where she was just like, "Your shoes? Are you serious?"
Which
right
is-
now is a very, very sisterly thing to do.
Which is why I like the first interaction they had where she walks away like flipping off, and then the mom without looking like that felt real. The fact that it wasn't organic, it was like a stolen joke was like okay, like it didn't make their relationship anything special.
That's fair. That's fair. I was gonna say something. I totally just lost my train of thought.
Who's your favorite character?
My favorite was Denai Guerreros, the general.
Michonne.
Yeah, Michelle.
Okoye.
Was that her name? Okoye.
I loved her. I loved how she was the greatest warrior in Wakanda, and how she's the leader. And then you saw that like even though she was with the other kind of rebellion guy, like leader or whatever, she was loyal to her country. And even when Chadwick Boseman said like, "You're gonna follow me, right?" She said, "No, I have to protect the ruler." Like this chick is awesome. She's just badass.
I'm torn between the two because I like Shuri a lot. She's
Yeah.
probably my favorite, but the General was a very close second because those fight scenes, though, were amazing. And then I just want a movie with just Shuri in it. Like, I don't need Black Panther. I mean, I need Black Panther. He's great. But, like, I could just take her and, like, her scientific whatever and turn that into a TV show or something. And, like, it could be a whole thing.
I just want her and Peter to have babies together.
That, too. Her and Peter shipping.
I just want her to have a scene with Tony Stark. I said that when we got out of the theater, but like,
I think a lot of
Do you
people are
think she
saying
will?
that.
In Infinity War?
look,
Okay, so here's
He
his
has
theory.
to get Wakanda tech.
yeah,
Sure.
My thing is, and I've said this to you guys, but for the sake of the podcast, there's that scene in the latest trailer where it's like so quick, and unless you like watch it frame by frame, you can't really notice it. So I think they could have cut that. This is a side note. I think they could have cut that scene in the trailer better. But Tony's armor is forming around his neck, like in a very particle-y way. It looks exactly like when the mask or the way his suit worked. Like it looks exactly like that. So I'm like, and the fact that the Infinity War looks like it's set a lot in Wakanda, I'm like, dude's gotta go there. The dude has to go there.
When Hulkbuster comes out, it looks like he's in Wakanda.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
He's either that or Central Park. But
So whether or not he actually has a scene with Shuri, I think is a up for debate. I think it's a huge missed opportunity, which sucks because I'm gonna be bummed if that doesn't happen in the movie now.
Yeah.
we know how when things don't happen the way you want,
I
you just
know.
hate the movie.
That's why I'm so wary of like having hopes for things now after Star Wars.
There's so many characters. I don't think they're going to get
That's sad.
the screen time that we want.
I know.
Maybe unpopular opinion, Lupita Nyong'o was a little underwhelming for me.
Nakia.
Nakia, yeah. Like, I think it might have been like she's such a big actress that the entire time I was like, oh, they can't keep this actress on. Like, she's too big. So, like, something's going to happen to her. And that could have been it, like, failed expectations. But I was just waiting for something to, like, happen to her because she's such a big actress that I was like, she can't stay around forever.
Yeah, I could see that. Although, I don't know, like, she's supposedly the love interest, so she might stick around for a while and maybe something happens. But they seem to, by the end, want to keep her around because he gave her another purpose.
And I'm wondering if it's going to be, you're doing your social issue thing, so keep focusing on that.
Yeah.
Or if it's basically going to be like Wakanda accepts all these refugees during, Infinity War because Thanos is attacking Earth. Because they have all the resources, and they have her like, oh, here, come this way, and then that's like it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she underwhelmed me. I don't know if she overwhelmed me, but I don't know if she underwhelmed me either.
I liked the casino, like I liked her in the casino scene a lot. I thought her, Okoye, and T'Challa were all really good in the casino scene. And then other than that, it was just like, okay.
I think her strongest scene was in the conversation she has with Okoye right after Killmonger takes the throne, where it ends with her
Be
saying,
loyal
like,
to your country, not to your king.
That was pretty strong.
and then she had that line where she's like, "You're gonna do something in your country." She's like, "No, I'm gonna save my country." I thought that was pretty.
Yeah.
that was,
I agree.
I just got chills the moment you said that.
I think from that point forward was like her really becoming a solid character, or she got a lot more things to do because she saved the mom and the sister. She snuck in and stole the heart-shaped herb to keep it safe.
Was that her?
Yeah.
Oh,
she was like, let's go to the mountains. She initiated a lot of
That's
stuff.
interesting because, she was the initiator, but I felt like that was Angela Bassett's strongest moments, was up in the mountains. And then during the fight scene, I felt like it was Okoye and Shuri more than it was Nakia.
Yeah, she didn't really have a lot to do in that fight scene. I did love... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it was a bummer because I, obviously love Xena Warrior Princess, so the chakrams that she had come out, I was like, I need more. Show me more.
She threw them a couple times,
She
right?
did,
Yeah.
and I was like, yay. But
When you
anyway.
throw them, did they come back to her?
I think so.
Yeah.
They had some sort of
Like
magnetic,
boomerangs?
attack. What was it? I was going to say... Oh, small touch that I loved about her character, though. I loved how when they got to South Korea, she had that relationship with that random Asian woman who's the keeper of the bar, and she was talking to her in what I assume is Korean.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see the whole movie that led up to why you
She
two
had a
know
Han
each other.
moment,
Yeah, that was so
Well,
cool.
I mean, they explained she had been to the casino before and beat
Well,
up
sure,
a lot
sure.
of people.
But I love the idea that she's a spy, and I want to see because they rescue her from the middle of a mission. That was very Black Widow and Avengers to me. That moment where she was kind of got the phone call, and she's like, when she's tied to the chair, she's like, I'm kind of in the middle of something. Can I call? Okay, fine, I'll come in. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your favorite character was Shuri. Your favorite character was the General Okoye.
Mine was both. Because it was Shuri and then the General for sure.
So those were your two favorite characters?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the whole cast, to be fair, was very strong. I just like those characters.
Daniel Kaluuya's character's name, because he's the only one I can't remember.
That's a great question.
Who?
Daniel Kaluuya.
I can look it
The
up.
guy from Get Out.
The best friend who
the
tried against
rhino guy.
Oh.
Because I'm like, I got M'Baku. He's the first guy he fights.
M'Baku, yeah.
I just know.
I also liked him.
I love
As
how
As
that.
small as he's used, I really liked him.
Yeah.
His best line in the whole movie was. See, picking the best line is gonna be hard. I know what mine is, but it's hard because there's so many.
His is probably my favorite.
Feed you to my children. Just kidding.
We're
We're vegetarians.
One of the people that I was
good.
working with this weekend says, I'm just going to start using the ooh, ooh, every time someone's talking. And I'm like, you don't get to speak here.
Wakabi.
Wakabi.
What's his name?
One thing I kind of didn't like was they talked about Wakabi and Okoye's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
At the very beginning, she just calls him my love, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then when Killmonger's there, they have a little argument, and they give you that look of we're gonna have to talk about this. And then during the final fight, that plays out. I wish there was a little bit more involvement because it just felt like,
I agree.
oh yeah, this is a thing.
I agree.
But that was one thing.
I said that to Dana too. Before I get into my favorite character, I think critiques I had. I feel like the movie could have been a 5 out of 5 or whatever the scale is. It was a 4 for me, a really good 4,
That's
but a
fair.
4.
Not even a 4.5.
Not a 4.5, because I think there were two things to me that pulled it back from 5. Which one of them was the action scenes minus the South Korea sequence were very bland and vanilla to me. Because I told you guys this when we were walking out of the theater. I was like, everything I go into now, because we're getting so many genre movies like this. I go into everything going, can you come up with a situation or a scene that I haven't seen before that makes me go, that was really cool and inventive. Good example.
Train scene?
The train scene?
Yeah.
No,
the train.
that was the worst. I was bored as fuck watching. Every time they would cut to that, I was like, no, cut back to something else. That was my
Cut
feeling.
back to the white savior.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
No, that sucked too. That was the tech was
Yeah,
cool, the visual was cool, but I couldn't have felt more disinterested. Even when the thing was shooting at him, I felt no sense of stakes. There was no. So
I felt anxious. I thought he was going to die.
Here's because we talked this out enough that I actually have examples to give to you, and you tell me what you think. So as far as a climax goes, good climax in a bad movie, Thor 2, Dark World. The climax is awesome in how inventive it is, in that it's built around this concept of there being portals, and Malekith and Thor keep getting thrown through different portals and having to fight across different worlds, and then they get shot out.
That doesn't sound creative to me at all.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
But it's I've never seen a fight scene like that. And then when they hit the top of the London Tower and they have to slide down, and Thor has to take the subway to get to the next fight. It's
there's a lot of
creatively
chase
set up.
scenes like that. Adjustment Bureau does that, and it's a chase scene, not a fight scene. But it's the
That's
exact-
fair. That's fair.
But anything that deals with portals and travel uses that as
Rick and Morty.
That's fair, but
Interesting
I
like
at
that.
least felt like that was inventive. Another good example, or if you're not going to be inventive with the scene, at least be inventive with how you shoot it. Good example being even the battle outside between the different factions of Wakanda on the field was really average shooting, like cinematography wise. Like take the Battle of the Bastards, Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shot of the horses charging at Jon Snow as he pulls out his sword, super dynamic. You could make that a painting. The whole sequence where it's a one shot that just follows him through the battle as like arrows rain down, and then he gets back up and a guy comes out. That's one of the best like shot battle scenes I've ever seen. So it's like, if you're gonna have action in the movie, make it inventive and creative, like the South Korea scene where there was all that cool stuff like the flipping off the car, when the girl's car got exploded, and then in slow motion she grabs the spear, and like that was great. So then it just loses steam for me when it's two people fighting, like two CGI characters doing a very poorly choreographed and poorly shot fight scene in a dark room. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with that.
So that was one. That was not to monologue too long, but the action could have been better. And then the other thing is what you just said, which is I wish they had gotten more into like the nuance of the different layers that they had set up in terms of like you had this conflict between the general and her lover who was on, but they didn't. Other than the brief thing, you're right. They didn't capitalize on that. I would have loved if the final battle had more come down to a battle of wits or a battle of moral strength between Killmonger and T'Challa than a literal fist fight. And the example I used when I was talking to her was that's why The Dark Knight is such a good climax, because he literally goes and fights the Joker, and the Joker's like, their fist fight lasts 10 seconds, and then he's like, did you think I was going to risk losing the battle for Gotham Soul in a fist fight with you? No. I've set up a whole other thing that proves my thematic point that I've been making the whole time. And then he's got to rush off to that, and your true climax is a very, very low-key battle of morality between him trying to convince, so like to see something like that, I don't know what it is. What do you guys think the version of that is if we were to like fanfic a little bit?
So the thing I was expecting, and it's a little bit derailed from what you were saying, is he would have to fight without the power of the Black Panther and somehow try and win, which could have been done through Battle of Wits. And so I was a little, when they had the pod and gave it to him, it was just like two Black Panthers fighting. I was like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I was also expecting when Eric speaks to his father, this is something I was actually glad that they didn't do because it was different. I was expecting I learned from my mistakes, you shouldn't go down the same path. Or he would have talked to T'Challa's father and he's like, I'm sorry I had to do it. Like, your father told me. Like, all that stuff. And he would have blown up in his face. But it was actually him saying, like, you're carrying out what I wanted to do. I'm so proud of you. And I thought that was, like, very different from what most movies do. But that was how I was expecting the climax to go going into it. Once they showed the plan of stripping of the powers, I was like, oh, that. But I was glad they moved.
That would have been cool. What do you think? Well, first of all, did you feel let down by the climax, or were you okay with it? And if you had wanted it to go a different way, how would you have wanted it to go?
I was okay with the climax. Unfortunately, I found a plot hole in the whole thing that, like, this is the thing I hate about CW shows in particular. They're always like, I'm going to withhold this information, and then this drama ensues. Whereas if they just, like normal people share that information and, like, just said this one thing, everything would have been diffused. So when Killmonger came in and into the throne room and he was like, doing his little coup or whatever, all he had to do was be like, dude, you are the one who broke Claw out, and then you bring his dead body, like, and then that would have easily been like an accusation. The border guy would have been like, oh, that's why you didn't bring him, because this a-hole took him, and then tried to pretend. Like, it would have taken 2 seconds for him to explain that, for the Border Patrol guy to be like, oh, that's why.
I think the reason that didn't happen is T'Challa's guilt surrounding his father. And
totally fine, but that seems a little weak.
And the fact that they are family, I feel like.
I mean,
he felt he had some moral high ground, and he probably thought he would win no matter what.
But it's
He's a proud man.
He was a proud man, but it's just like, okay, he feels bad, but he's going to have to fight him either way. So at least in one part, be like, at least for the Border Patrol part, he could have had more allies, and I thought that was really dumb. Like, the Killmonger guy still had the right to, challenge him either way because of blood, but like he wouldn't have had any allies.
Also, all Killmonger would have had said, obviously we're going on a huge tangent because this isn't what happened, is he's like, the CIA had him. I was bringing him to Wakanda because he's our kill. I did something you couldn't do. Blah, blah, blah.
I did like that they made this is an example of like why I felt a little bit let down by the climax and how simple it ended up being, because they made a big point about how he was a agent of the government,
destabilizing government.
Yeah, and I love that whole thread of like he knows to strike in during transitions of power. He's been trained for this, so I thought I don't know. I just felt like it could have been a little bit more. There could have been a little more nuance and complexity to the way that it.
Like his backstory
played. No, just the way that the climax played out. Instead of it just ending up being a giant fuck-off battle.
How would you have used that element of his character in the final battle?
The government?
Yeah,
part?
him being J-Sock and all that.
This is what I've been trying, since we saw it, like, you've been thinking about it a lot, I've been thinking about it a lot too, because, like, sometimes what I like to do is, like, because I like to imagine that one day I would write a movie and direct a movie and stuff like that, so when I see movies...
It makes $200 million.
Yeah, in this opening weekend. When I see movies, it's like I give myself like a writing exercise where I'm like, if I had done this, what pieces would I have written differently? I still haven't quite come up with what. I just know I would have liked it to be like The Dark Knight, where there was like a fist fight, but it led to a thing that was more of a battle that wasn't involving like a physical fight, so that proved the thematic point, And I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
That fight already happened though. Their ideology is completely Killmonger is the opposite side of the coin of the isolationist is we need to take over, and they already I feel like had that battle and T'Challa was basically being torn between his dad and Killmonger's philosophy and what's right, and he chooses the middle ground.
Right.
That's like someone this weekend was telling me he thought T'Challa's character arc was weak, and his entire character arc is I can never live up to who my dad was to I don't want to be what my dad was, and I feel like his journey from when he dies is
that's fair.
What kind of plays that out. And Killmonger doesn't he's not going to change his opinion. He's
set in his ways.
He's been radicalized. He's just.
I think the final the climax though was kind of a resolution to the fact that Wakanda is very based on tradition and ritual and isolationist. So they have the combat for the king. The king has to be the mightiest warrior. And so it's so traditional that I think the final battle had to be settled in fists, because that's how they that's their diplomacy, so to speak.
But I thought they did that in when he takes the throne, and that was so much more thematically impactful, because there you see that was a great scene. I didn't need it a second time. I would have much rather it came down to something that wasn't maybe it's a race against time, or maybe it's a winning over the people thing, or maybe it's a
Martin Freeman was a race against time,
but not in a literal trying to shoot down planes sense. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. So if I figured out what I would rather have happened,
the trial never ended, and that was his point when he comes back.
Which is fine.
And they were still on level ground because they both had the suits. They both had the power of the plant that gives them the power of the Black Panther. So it was still on level playing field. So it still needed to play out who was the rightful ruler. So I think that's why that works.
So go back to favorite characters. My favorite character is this cat. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
yeah,
is that the
would
panther?
fit in the movie?
The
Red Panther.
Yeah, this is our little panther. I really like Shuri, obviously, but because so many people already said that, I'll go with my second favorite, which I know is a little bit of a hot take, but Claw.
Second favorite? Nope, same. Honestly,
really?
Same. Claw. I love Claw.
What?
Claw was so good. He was so much better than he was in Ultron.
He was perfect for what he was.
Yeah,
and the
Andy Serkis is so good. I love him so much.
I love him too.
I love so much the. What are you dropping a mixtape? Yeah, and I'll send you the SoundCloud.
It felt
like
a little sarcastic though. I think it felt a little bit shoehorned in.
But he just played. He just felt like such a.
He felt insane.
But everyone felt like real in a way that I haven't really felt. It didn't feel like writing a lot of time. It just felt like real people. When he escapes from the thing and he's to his bodyguards, he's like, "That was awesome. That was." I was like, "That's what a psycho, insane arms dealer dude would do." And I thought he just played it so well. Also, side note, this movie is such a win on all accounts, and I think adding to how much it's a win is the fact that they let Andy Serkis not do motion cap and be a real actor.
No, that was mocap.
That's he's just mocap.
Oh my god, you're a pirate. Are you okay? Do Do you want me to take them off of you?
So
I'm good for now.
So we got Abram Medina Garcia, who I think is fairly new. I've never seen.
I don't represent something. Hey, Abram.
He has asks a question that transitions perfectly into the next question I had for everyone, which is, what is your favorite line? And he says, which was going to be my answer to what's your favorite line. He said, what did you guys think of Killmonger's last words before he died? I thought that was a great writing and powerful scene. And just to remind everyone, the line was, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from ships because they knew that death was better than bondage. So that's my favorite line. Only thing that comes close, or like the second thing I liked a lot, was in the first post-credit scene where T'Challa says, during times of conflict, the wise man builds bridges, the foolish man builds barriers.
Yeah, that was a little on the nose for me.
So I like that. I thought that was good. But what did everyone think of that ending, that line he delivered, or like that scene?
So
that was gonna be my answer.
That is the best written line.
Yeah.
Obviously, for like enjoyment of the movie, I thought M'Baku's "You never speak again, or I'll feed you to my children." I'm just kidding. We're vegetarians was like the best, but that ending is the best written line. I think for sure.
I agree.
Ryan Coogler did a really good job at he did a good job at directing, but I think his strength in this movie was as a writer more so.
So there was a really good thing I saw on Reddit actually. Someone said the screenwriter did their homework, and they included a panel from a Black Panther comic where he says a lot. He says something, and then it says like, every breath you take is mercy from me. And he says that in the movie right before he's going to kill Claude in South Korea. He said, because he goes, mercy, mercy. He says, every breath you're breathing is mercy.
Black Panther said that?
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. Someone actually read the comics.
Nice.
That's awesome.
But so your answer was?
Well, I think that, like he was saying, like that's definitely the best written line. I also liked the funny line. But there was also, oh God, what is it?
I thought it was.
There was another really good line.
While you think of it, I thought it was really interesting. I was talking to Jack, other Jack, and he didn't like Michael B. Jordan, like his acting performance. And I was really nervous about Michael B. Jordan going into it, and then I thought he did really good.
There were moments when I think he was really solid, and there were moments when I thought he was a little hammy.
Yeah.
Like any of his overblown villain stuff was a
Burn
little,
it all!
Yeah, it was a little hammy. But then there were moments when when I could see in his eye, like he looked like he was on the verge of tears when he was angry, and at those moments I was like, this is a real dude.
Hi, Auntie.
That was a good line.
I love that.
That was cool. But some of the more
I believed him 100% of the way when he is doing the finishing blows on T'Challa. Is this your king? Is who's going to lead you into the future?
I think
everything about him felt real.
I think it was when he did his more mustache twirly, like swaggery stuff. That's when I felt it was a little hammy.
Side note: the score that's going on when he's in the museum is one of my favorite parts of that entire. Just the sound that's going on in that is one of my favorite parts of the entire.
I don't remember it, but I saved the score on Spotify.
It is so good.
I
think the score is better.
Right?
Producer. I think the score is better than the soundtrack, personally.
The soundtrack's pretty good though.
Right?
When the credits hit and it's all the stars, that song, I was like, oh my god.
I thought All the Stars was used in the first dream sequence in the background, and I thought it was.
It might have been. I just maybe didn't notice it, but it was definitely in the credits.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
So did anyone have a different favorite line other than that one?
It was in the end of the movie. That's all I remember. It was in the. It wasn't.
Do you know who said it?
It was T'Challa. Oh no! It was a scene. Never mind. Okay, you know the scene where they're like, "So what does Wakanda even have to offer?" And he was like, "Just you wait."
And he's like, "White man, please."
Yeah, like I don't know why that to me was really powerful.
That was the first one, and Bucky was the second one, right?
Yes.
I was confusing the order.
Maybe it's because I've been condescended to by people who think they're smarter than me all the time that, like, I'm just like, okay, sure. Like, and I don't know, there was just something about that scene I was like, I can relate.
I never freeze.
I loved their accents.
Their accents are so good.
Their accent, like the
That's the
Wakandan
thing, though.
accent, and then when the old like dead king in the dream sequence was speaking with T'Challa, and they had that clicking in that, like it's beautiful.
Well, he is he speaks Afrikaans. The actor who plays the dad, but
yeah,
I think it's so funny that Chadwick Boseman made a decision in Civil War on this is how I'm going to speak, And now everyone else is like, oh, this is how
We
we're
have
going
to, yeah.
This is
I'm
how
sure
we're going
they,
to just...
I'm sure they, someone was
They
like,
helped
this
them
is
probably.
the,
They probably had
I
a
don't think he
voice
just
act.
walked in and was like, what do you think, guys?
You probably had a voice coach.
Yeah, he did. And like dialect coach and stuff like that because they were mixing different dialects. But like when he auditioned, he's like, this is kind of what I'm thinking.
How funny would it have been if like he came in with something wild?
Hi, I'm T'Challa.
I'm T'Challa.
I'm
Or
the
what
king of
about-
Wakanda.
thinking I'd do sort of an Australian accent,
Because
He
you know,
does
we're
King
hidden. You
from
wouldn't
Dark Knight
expect it.
Rises.
Chris.
This is Sean Connery.
I never freeze.
That would be a really funny SNL skit, like the his auditions process, trying to find a voice for T'Challa.
That'd be pretty great.
So I was gonna ask favorite scene, but I think I'm actually gonna revise it to something I find more interesting, which is favorite frame. If you had to freeze frame one moment in the movie and put it on your wall as a painting, what would you pick?
I mean, I feel like there's an obvious answer, but I'll let everyone else go.
All right,
first.
I'll go first. It's where Shuri is just like looking down at some thing on the computer, and you just see that big staircase with like the African decoration stuff. That I love that.
Side note, back to favorite line. Don't sneak up on me, colonizer.
Oh no, that was really good.
But
Yeah.
That's another thing. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought when we were talking about Killmonger, but I would have loved for them to bring in more, because Black Panther says it once, but they don't really talk about it again. But bring in more that he sold himself out to become just like the colonizers. Like he has one line where he's like, "You've become your enemy," you like, or
He
"You've
says it
become the
twice.
enemies," or something
There's
like.
two lines that.
But let's hammer that home, because that would have been awesome to have him like realize the gravity of his. Oh
Well,
wow! If we're
he
just-
wasn't going to, though.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Because the entire philosophy behind him is you must become what you hate so that you can take over.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But your favorite frame?
Favorite frame is a shot of the street in Wakanda. You know, it had it like 2 or 3 times with like the strains and just like all like the vendors and stuff. It's very like well lit. I loved that.
I love the architecture. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you're hanging one thing as a picture, it's the dream sequence with the tree and the purple in the background.
That's true.
Like that,
It's
it's
beautiful.
so amazing.
Oh,
Here's what I'll say, though.
Panthers.
If I was basing it on the trailer, yes. After watching the movie, I would actually do the. I would if I was
Sky?
pick. No. I would pick the
Sunset?
one when he's in his apartment in Oakland, and it's the nighttime of city of Oakland with the purple sky. I
You
thought it
never
was
get
really
just
cool.
the city though; it's him in the apartment.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're looking through the
Yeah,
window.
yeah.
So I thought that was really cool, but I actually think if I can't choose that, because again I want to just give another option, it would have been freeze frame the shot of Michael B. Jordan silhouetted against the burning garden of heart-shaped herb. That was awesome.
See, I would have rather done him looking on Wakanda
Yeah.
when he finally gets to see what Wakanda is.
The sunset,
The very end, yeah.
that's pretty cool too.
So, do we want to talk about the joke that man in the theater made that kind of ruined that scene a little bit, but was hilarious?
The
That man
symbol
made a
meme?
lot of jokes. I don't know which one in particular.
The one where he was
It's
like,
a silver-
everything the light touches.
Oh,
is-
yes. It was pretty good. I thought it was
Yeah.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
And then right after that scene, there was a shot of a rock that kind of looked like the one from Lion King.
Yeah.
Julian, as soon as that guy sat down, says, he's going to be talking the whole time.
It's gonna be trouble.
Yeah, he's gonna
He'll
be
have
a
his
trouble.
one-liner though.
He's gonna be a troublemaker. Another frame I would have loved as a wide painting would be like one of the shots of his first battle with M'Baku with the beautiful like the waterfalls and like his shield with him collapse. Like that would have been really cool.
I saw an interview, and I'm not sure if they were just gassing it up, but they were saying that was like legit. Like that was a legit waterfall mountainside, like not CGI.
Oh wow.
It had all those plateaus on it. For
Yeah.
people, like that was beautiful.
That's what I was like didn't buy is like there was standing space for everyone,
wow.
but they might have just been like minimal used. But
Why did they dam the river again? So that like didn't they like drain the river and then they were like at the bottom of the waterfall or
Just where the ritual thing was, I guess.
I think they created cracks so that the water fell down there rather than on.
Yeah,
Got it.
over the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
it was to create the
Yeah.
There was another frame that I was thinking of that I forgot. So
but overall I think it was like really like it was very good. I enjoyed it. I want to see it a second time.
I'm
just 'cause-
Same.
on a 10-point scale, I'm somewhere between an 8 and a 9. Like I thought
Yeah.
it was very
Same.
good.
I'm partial to the 7-point scale. So where would you guys rate it on the 7-point scale? Because I truly think the 7-point scale is the best scale.
6.
6, yeah.
yeah, probably 6.
I think that's how.
It was a great movie.
We've been so oversaturated with superhero movies, and for us to be saying this feels fresh.
Yes.
Like it just that's
you
awesome.
actually, you actually hit a note that I had a conversation with him at Chipotle the other day, which was I haven't felt this way about a superhero movie since Captain America, the first one, and that's a personal choice. Well, Wonder Woman was for a different reason. It wasn't by any means, Wonder Woman wasn't like anything different than I've already seen before, and it had a lot of ties that also were in Captain America, so maybe it's because I'd already seen. But I mean, obviously, as the first female superhero movie, like I love that. But no, it was actually Captain America is my favorite because it's the first time I actually cared about the hero. There was a lot more character building than there was fight. I mean, there was a lot of fighting, but like it was a lot about being a character.
Morality and learning.
Yes.
Exactly.
I saw this headline the other day and just want to get your guys' thoughts on it. And it was, Killmonger is the greatest villain since Heath Ledger's Joker.
That...
He's a very good villain.
He's convincing. I was scared of him, for sure, but I wouldn't say he's Heath Ledger.
Correct.
Yeah.
So here's where...
I was like, ooh.
And at the risk of being insensitive or people being like, just bear with me. Here's where I have a little bit of an issue in the hype for this movie. I'm all about it. I love it. I think it was really good. Is it the best movie ever? No. Is it the best movie I've ever seen? No. Have I, quote, never seen anything like it in my life, which was an ad I saw on Twitter? Absolutely not. Like,
is it in your top 3 favorite MCU movies?
It depends on what you mean by what, if it is a movie you've never seen before in your life.
But there's just and here's where it crystallized. Where my frustration was. Kevin Feige was quoted in an interview with ABC as saying, he's like, we did the premiere, and when it ended, I turned to Ryan Coogler and said, it's the best movie we've ever made. And I'm like, that's categorically false. There's a lot that's great about this movie, but don't buy into you have to be able to be like, okay, but there's things that there's reasons it wasn't a 5 and it was a 4 instead.
But I think
what movie in the MCU is a 5?
Captain America, the first Captain America.
Winter Soldier. I just said that
Avengers.
it felt exactly how I felt when I watched the first Captain America.
I know. I just think those 3 movies are so much stronger and so much tighter thematically than
Captain America as a trilogy is like
is amazing.
It's so crazy that they.
So in a universe where you've created the first Captain America, which hot take I think is the best Marvel movie in the entire MCU, and the Winter Soldier, which most people say is the best movie in the entire MCU. You like don't be like, as the head of the studio, don't be like, this is the best movie we've ever made.
I think it's the power of the film, of a large population finally being represented for the first time,
and that's great.
And so like them getting to identify with it, it's like it's powerful, it's new, it's fresh. Even though like the DNA of a superhero film is something we've seen before, it's giving this new audience an ability to celebrate their own culture, like our audience that we were in. There's lots of African Americans wearing like traditional like clothes and stuff, and it's just. That's awesome.
Traditional Wakandan clothes.
I think there were like maybe 3 white people in the entire cast, and it was great.
No, it's great, and
because you've never seen that, really.
Yeah,
and that's so. I'm totally about that. That's so powerful. I just let's still keep our objectivity about like the Wonder Woman was the same thing. It was like Wonder Woman is a really good movie. Stop campaigning for it to get an Oscar nomination.
But I would say it was better than Wonder Woman. Like I put Wonder Woman at a 7.5 on the 10-point scale, and.
Yeah.
Black Panther is somewhere between 8 and 9 once I watch it again.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean on that because Wonder Woman ended very weakly.
Yeah.
So it was really deflating, but you can't argue that it would. And I think that also gets blown up because it's the best DC movie by far.
Yeah.
Not even.
Not even close.
No.
Yeah.
Winning an Oscar, getting nominated for an Oscar has to be like the repercussions of the film too. So not just the film itself, but what emotion did it invoke in people? I think so.
The award is for the technical aspects of the film.
Unless there's another set of awards.
It's brave to pose questions and create films on things in certain political climates, though.
Black Panther definitely deserves some awards, though, like set design, costume design,
yeah, for sure.
Great acting. There was some amazing acting.
I think everything technically was great, except for some cinematography. I thought was a little off. But like the technical aspect of the movie, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Some of the supporting actors for sure should get an award for that. Like there were some strong supporting actors.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be Oscar bait though. That's like.
I mean, I kind of want to do away with Oscar bait anyway. I watched Lady Bird and I was like, eh.
Every single person I know who's seen Lady Bird said the exact same thing.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic.
Great acting, great script. There's nothing wrong with it.
You have a hard-on for Timothée Chalamet, who's in it, so.
Yeah.
But we have a question?
Yeah,
sorry.
Abram Medina Garcia said, any thoughts on the 201 million weekend opening? I think it's actually more than that.
It's 225.
The 3-day is 201, I think.
Yeah.
The 4-day is close.
Well deserved.
Yeah. The 4-day global is above $400 million. That's insanity.
It just goes to show that.
Budget on? Like what?
200 million was the budget,
including marketing.
No. Tack on like another 100.
Okay. Yeah, it's usually 1.5.
What were you gonna say?
It just goes to show how underserved a market is.
Yeah.
That people I wouldn't even consider us part of that market, and we went like it was a good movie.
We're part of the superhero market.
Well, it was the perfect way to leverage the vehicle of of the Marvel vehicle in order to service people without being pandery. I think it's like
that's what I was about to say.
I think it's maybe the first what I would call black movie, not in an offensive, but in a representative for big representation for the black culture. I think it's the first one on the scale that's not pandery, because the only ones I can think of are that get wide release are Tyler Perry movies, which are pandery, or things like that Girls' Night movie that kind of came and went but wasn't really in the mainstream. This thing is.
You clearly don't know how much money that made.
No, I don't. I'm not saying Tyler Perry movies make tons of money, but no one. I
love Medea.
No one in the main, no one from other cultures really acknowledges those movies outside of But this is being acknowledged from all walks of life, both genders, every different ethnic group.
Well, Chadwick Boseman said it best in the many interviews that you watched of him, just at this weekend, Remember, what was the story about the kids who were waiting to see this? They were underserved, and they were holding on to life because they were sick. They had cancer, and they were waiting for this movie to come out to watch it.
That's one thing that I'm nervous about. If Marvel or any other big blockbuster does something with the LGBTQ community, for whatever reason, Wonder Woman didn't feel pandery. Black Panther didn't feel pandery. Right. I feel as soon as that happens, it's going to feel really pandery, and that's one thing I'm nervous about. Because that will anger people in the community as you're fucking tossing us a bone, and then people who don't necessarily agree with it will also be upset.
They're always going to be that way.
It'll cause it. I mean, people are upset at Black Panther
because
they think it was named after the party, which it wasn't.
Get Out, I think, is the other example of a mainstream big release that was representative of or was
and the black director as well.
Yeah. So I just love we have two movies now that are, I haven't seen Get Out yet, but from what I've heard, insanely unique, and they came from people that were not white men, and so now I'm
just men.
Well, and they performed really well, so I think it opens doors of okay, if we're doing an apples to apples, dollars to dollars comparison, this makes money. There's going to be a Wonder Woman 2. There's going to be a Black Panther 2. This is awesome. And it shows in the risk rewards, the directors who are aiming at a different audience with a different message, they're still getting the dollars, and so all the executives can be all right, we can do that. It's a viable solution.
So we have a couple good questions from the audience. Okay. Doug Cowell says, "Hi, glad to finally catch a live chat."
Hi
Doug.
Hey, Doug.
He says, "Does the amazing opening, box office impact our predictions for Infinity War at all from a box office perspective, especially given that Black Panther is featured heavily in the trailers? Does that change your?"
I mean, they wouldn't have known that though.
We're good. I think he means does this predict how the box office is going to do for Infinity?
What do we think?
Not are they going to change it? I would
would
say it's not going to have too much of an impact, except slightly boost it. People who weren't into Marvel might now be fans, especially with all the trailers featuring Wakanda heavily. But I feel it's not. It being an event, Star Wars is an event that you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to be I want to go opening weekend. I think that it's only going to add a little bit more. You're going to see theaters where it's the only movie playing, Thursday and Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that for the opening weekend, Infinity War can beat Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which holds the world record?
I think easily. That's 247. I think it's 247 million. I think it can easily beat that.
The total box office is well over.
Does it affect your predictions?
I think it will definitely have brought more people into the MCU, but they would have to, to watch Infinity War, you would kind of want to watch the rest of the movies, and they may not have that much care or time to do so because they're not getting the content that they were brought in from, which was Black Panther. You've got 3 guys named Chris that you have to watch before all that.
I feel like the only thing you really need to see before, though, is Civil War. Maybe I would go Avengers, Civil War, and then you're pretty much good.
You may even have to watch Winter Soldier, which in that
That's
case, then you have to watch the first Captain America.
There's a handful that you have.
I would say no.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch the first America to watch Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Considering I've never
But I
seen the
think
first Captain
people are already like
What?
invested in,
I know.
in the
It's the
timeline.
only one I've never seen.
Oh,
The
bruh.
first Captain America.
It's the best movie in the
It
MCU.
is.
I didn't like the villain in that though. Red Skull.
Yeah, he sucked, but well, not like sucked, but he was a little weak. The other question, which I really like, which ties into what we were just talking about, who would you say is from Cedric House? Who would you say is more badass? Is it the Dora Milaje? Is that how you pronounce it?
The women.
Her guard, the royal
Oh,
guard.
I don't.
The Royal Guard.
I know it's Dora Milaje. I just don't know if that's how you pronounce it. So, who's more badass, them or the Amazons?
Like in.
Yeah, from Wonder Woman.
I don't think I got to see, unfortunately, them fight enough.
Who?
Either.
Yeah.
You see
You
a
see the
lot from the
Amazons.
Amazons.
So
But,
the
like-
Amazons are bigger in numbers.
But they also did really cool tricks with the horses and stuff. Whereas in Black Panther, I didn't see. I saw the general do some cool moves, but I didn't really see a whole lot with the whole group, and they got their butts kicked by Warmonger.
This question brings
I
up
think-
a great.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So watching Amazons versus the World War I soldiers, just with the basic guns, a lot of Amazons died. So I think
They
that
didn't have the high tech that the
Yeah.
girls did.
they did not.
Yeah,
But I think
so.
just adapting to that, I think, what was the word for the Royal Guard?
Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje. I think they might be more adapted to it.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like
they definitely would have
projectiles
the.
and stuff, yeah.
They have the vibranium. They know about the outside world.
So,
but Amazons
if they
didn't.
fought with their weapons,
Oh,
Well,
Dora
not
that they
Milaje
would-
would murder the
Yeah.
Amazons.
Yeah, they
but
would.
what about unarmed combat?
But if you were to give them
I think-
equal combat,
Well,
I think it could be pretty fair.
I'm forgetting that the Amazons are also superpowered, and the
They're
Dora
not.
Milaje are not.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Only
they're,
Diana is.
Yeah, I think only Diana.
No,
is.
she's the same as all the other ones.
So they have more strength than a human.
Yeah, they're
Well, okay, but
they're not humans. They're
I know they live longer and stuff, but they're not that much stronger.
When you
They're above
you see
human.
Justice League, how far they can jump
Yeah,
and
they're-
take off and.
But the women, I can't say it. The Royal Guard, for Black Panther, they're supposed to be the finest warriors.
but they're human.
Yeah.
But they're human.
Yeah.
Like Black Panther, I think could go with the heart-shaped herb could go toe to toe with an Amazon.
Yeah.
But the
I think
Amazons
they'd win.
are stronger. So the question then becomes: does vibranium weaponry bring them equalize the gap of physical strength between the two?
No, I think it actually makes the Royal Guard more OP because they're already world class fighters. They could probably handle their own against strength.
So what I was going to say though is this brings up another example of what I was talking about in terms of the action scenes could have been a little more dynamic. That action scene on the beach in Wonder Woman is awesome. You have such cool shots like them all jumping off the cliff, bow and arrowing their things to the thing, swinging. The one shot where she jumps off the horse behind the soldiers and loot.
Those were great action shots.
Such great shots, so dynamic, well shot, and I'm going in the theater. I've never seen that before. The whole final fight scene, I don't even know what was happening. I just know there were rhinos and some people
Shaky
were throwing each
camera.
other. That's where I'm be a little more dynamic. But that's another example of where I think it could have been better.
That is fair. I definitely like the big battle too, like you were saying with Battle of the Bastards and stuff. I could have used a little bit more less shaky cam, less dun 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 dun, and just focus for 2 seconds and let me see what's going on.
I agree. And in regards to shaky cam in particular, I get why it's so widely used and why because if the actors can't perform the thing in a way that's believable, they have to find ways to cut it. But I think if they're training it for as long as they do, and in the scenes where the cameras kind of pull back, they look like they're doing a great. I don't think they're bad at what they're doing. So I wonder why more action movies don't do what Skyfall did in one of the fight scenes, which I think is one of the best shot scenes in an action movie. Roger Deakins, so no surprise there. But he's fighting a guy.
Don't know who that is.
He's a world-class he's one of the best cinematographers in the world, arguably. There's a shot where Bond is fighting in, I think it's Japan or somewhere. And he's in a skyscraper, and when the fight starts, it's just like this drum beat, like cool soundtrack, and the camera literally just goes like this, like a slow pan, and they're silhouetted against a advertisement light, like an electronic billboard. So it lights them from behind, and they're silhouetted, but they're fighting, and the camera does not move except for a slow movement in.
So since it's so far away, it doesn't matter if they're going like punching kind of by them. And
but his genius is, okay, if I can't mask, like if I was to do this shot with regular lighting, you'd be able to probably see a couple areas where they met. But the genius is, what if I backlight it with a amazing blue billboard that's moving? So not only do you get that amazing dynamic shot, but also it allows him to just do this, and you get to see the choreography, and you're like, these guys trained hard to be able to see.
Which they could have done with the vibranium in the background because it glows. They could have done a very similar shot.
So I'm like, why don't more action movies do that? Why don't more action movies just take the time to do this shot and find a way to sell it, because it's so cool?
Remember when we went to the Q&A with Ryan Johnson about Star Wars, like what he was saying about the fight scene in the Red Room, like he barely had to do anything because his actors had done such a good job training that he didn't have to do all that crap to make it look better.
Perfect example. They did that at the start of that scene where it's that slow-mo shot of all the people, and they kind of hold that for a while. It's a great shot.
Ryan Johnson said he only had to use one camera. There was only a couple, like they would bring in for a few seconds for like a backup shot for one thing, but they never ended up using it. So.
We have 2 more questions, and then I want to, because we're kind of pushing time, so I want to get to our next segment.
Okay.
But let's just do like real quick answers to these, just because I want to address the comments. So Cedric says, do you think Thanos will succeed and get through Wakanda in Infinity War, or get pushed back by Wakanda? Just really quick.
That's kind of hard to tell. I think that stalemate or like a slight defeat, if that makes sense.
Wakanda's
it's going to be a strong
Wakanda's slight defeat. Because Thanos needs to make some way for the next movie. I'm assuming Thanos isn't going to die or anything's going to happen to him in this movie. I think this is all him building up to the final showdown, which will be in the next Avengers movie.
I agree.
I don't know why he's in Wakanda, whereas New York has the Time Stone.
I think we're gonna.
So I think New York is going to be a very bad fight for everyone.
Yeah, because they're showing they have a couple scenes in the what's it called, the Sanctum.
Oh.
What do you think?
I think Wakanda's going to be a stronghold of humanity, of like Earth and stuff. So
especially with taking in refugees, it's like you need to protect these people.
New York is going to get its ass kicked, and I think people are going to go towards Wakanda for like.
That would be
refuge.
Such a cool way
Which
to
is why it's important
extend the thing. Oh, that would be awesome. I never thought of that.
I said it earlier in the podcast that's what
they would be
would be doing, and that's how they get a cameo in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like her bringing people in.
He did say that.
Oh, maybe I was spotting comments. The other question was, what about that after credit scene with Bucky?
Yeah.
My comments on that is, I just like that they called him the White Wolf. I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, it was really cute.
And I love his.
I also wondered how they knew what a wolf was, because I'm pretty sure they're not in Africa.
Yeah, they are. Wakanda's in Africa.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not talking
wolves.
about. I don't think wolves are in Wakanda or like in Africa.
It's the most advanced nation.
They have knowledge.
They know what a
I
wolf is.
suppose, but like that wouldn't be the first thing I would go to.
Wolves are pretty American.
It's not like I look at someone and be like,
dogs are
you're like a
so-
giraffe.
It makes me wonder why they would have called him a wolf. Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's the hair. They
Yeah,
were trying to like go towards like a Witcher thing.
Also, why did they take him out of that like cryogenic chamber? You know that he was doing so well in. Why did they just move?
It must have been a time jump, right?
Yeah, well, clearly, but like not much, because the movie starts with a week after the father's death.
Presumably she's. Good.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, presumably she's like fixed his brain or like done some of that medical stuff that we don't have any idea.
To the hut.
Maybe
next
just
to the river.
I think it's like kind of like a relaxation. Like, hey, you just went through a whole mental ordeal. Maybe you should chill.
Also, is that the first time he wakes up?
Probably not.
No, because he thanks her for the first time.
Yeah, so he talks.
But the kids are just waiting there.
It might be.
Maybe.
When with the kids just like waiting there, I feel like it's not his first time, but with him going thanks, I'm like,
yeah.
Maybe he's just thanking her again.
It felt like a classic, just MCU after credit scene. Like it felt like a little bit pandery, but it's what we all wanted them to acknowledge the fact that Bucky was there, but just didn't do
add a
anything
third
for me.
white person.
But where in the entire drama of Wakanda was Captain America?
I think
Sure.
they'll answer that.
Because he's
in
supposed to be.
Infinity
I know
For
they
sure.
will. He was probably out on a mission or whatever. It was just funny.
War. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Should we
He
move on?
leaves Wakanda
Sorry.
at the end of Civil War, doesn't he? He just said you're going to take care of Bucky, right?
We don't
did he?
see him leave, but he
oh,
Yeah.
he
I
could.
didn't. I forgot that.
Yeah.
No reason why
He's
he
just
couldn't.
taking.
I think he
care
was
of-
delivering him.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then he's going to be like a Soldier 76, basically.
Yeah, essentially,
That's
yeah.
exactly.
He even looks like Soldier
That's
76.
exactly it.
my watch.
So let's move into our next segment, which is our sort of variety hour for anyone who's watched the podcast before. So it's called Fun with Puns,
Oh yay!
and this
Hair
was
in my eye.
this was inspired by. I found an article today that I had buried deep in my bookmarks, and I remember how great it was. A BuzzFeed article that was like 20 animal puns to like make you super happy or some stupid clickbaity title. But there were many funny puns, and I didn't realize how many funny animal puns there were. So my challenge with you three now is I'm going to give you an animal, and you have to come up with as many puns as you can.
You have to give us the animal.
Yeah, like I'll give you the animal.
Ow.
Sorry. And then you'll make as many puns as you can with the
Okay.
name. And then I'll fill you in on ones that I know from this article if you miss
Okay.
any.
I'll try to get my
is this
inner
a team
yin
activity?
along.
Yes.
Okay.
So you just keep. So let's do bull first.
Bullshit.
Bulls make me emotional.
That's pretty good. That's not what I was thinking, or that's not where I would have thought it would have gone. But it's pretty good.
These are pretty unbelievable puns.
There you go.
Nice.
Took me like 500 seconds just to come up with something like bull.
While we wait, we could pack a bowl.
Ah!
Bowl of cereal.
A bowl of cereal. I suppose
I
that.
don't know. You cut them open, and it's like Lucky Charms.
You could do with his one. You could do like 20 of them. By the way,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to keep doing unbelievable.
lovable, excitable.
Ooh, I see that on a T-shirt. Love a bowl, and it's like to people like that are interested in bowl friendships.
You're damn right, I'm excitable.
How about horse?
100% horsepower.
Nope.
No.
Something
you
with
can't
of
just
course.
use a word that's
something with.
Hello, neighbor.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's good. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's good.
You
Doug
don't-
says this is off to a bullish start.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't want to go off course.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, I see where you're
I'll
going.
give you
It's
half
little
points.
I did a
stretch.
dash horse.
Half points.
Yeah.
I
Half
feel like we're
points.
shoehorning these in.
Half points.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah.
That's good. I was like, didn't even pass under the radar. No more?
No.
Do you guys need some water? Or
Nay.
your voice is feeling a little hoarse?
Nice.
Well done. Koala.
Can you show me your qualifications?
Yeah, that's the one. That's like the one. I don't know. So the question is, are there others? Because that was the one on.
That's
the...
very good.
He's
That was
probably
very
saying
good.
Wait, what do they eat? Bamboo, right?
Yeah.
No, they
No, they eat
eat
eucalyptus.
Yeah,
Eucalyptus.
I was thinking.
How dare
I
they.
was thinking of one,
Oh.
but it's just a long word to put in a pun. I
What
was like
about-
eucalyptus, but
Eucalyptus.
You know, it's like
Like, hey, I'm really thirsty. There's moisture on this leaf. You can lick this. A long walk around and not worth it pun.
Oh, I just got one. One could say right now we're spending quality time with each other.
I mean, you're just using
That
quality
was-
again, but
Well, he said qualifications. I said
Oh,
quality.
okay.
Nice. That's
Oh, that's
quality.
weird. This is weird. Every time we've said one, the comment comes in like right after. Like
Yeah.
Trent just said, you need to spend some quality time with your audience.
Hey.
nice.
Doug said the rest are unbearable.
Hey.
Okay,
Fair.
koala we nailed. Lion.
You
oh,
lying
there's
to
too
me?
many. Yeah, stop lying around.
Did you lie?
Is your pride hurt?
No,
Oh, that's really good.
shit.
That's really good.
Are you the main event?
I was gonna say, are you my main man?
Mm-hmm.
All mine are awful.
No! Oh God!
I like
This is such a man's game. I can't come up
What
with
does this
any.
have to do with gender?
Dude, Dream Daddy is all about the dad puns for a reason. Dad puns.
Dad jokes and puns. There's some overlap, but it's not.
Jack's our main man.
I like how you're just slipping him in like casually. I
You
don't
missed
like,
that one.
I-
You
I-
missed that last one, the main
Well,
one.
he already said it.
He already said that.
Oh shit.
I said
Oh,
main event.
oh yeah,
you
I said main man. That's right. That's right.
Nice.
Okay,
Derek's like, hey, sit on that one.
cheetah.
I mean, cheetah. Like, don't be a cheetah, but like.
Don't be a cheetah.
Are there any more that you can go? Are there is there anything else besides cheetah?
I
don't
mean,
think
we
we
could
can
go back
spot
to
anymore.
cats, but with lions, it's like.
But like
I
using
spot.
the word. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Using the word cheetah are there any other ones besides cheater? Like
You want Doritos or some cheetahs?
Nice,
Oh.
nice, flaming hot.
I like this riffing going on here.
cheetah is going to go by quick.
I was literally about to
That's
say
good.
fast.
Puma.
Sorry, I pooped my pants.
Yeah. I think you read this article because you're hitting all the ones.
I have not read this
That's
article,
great.
but I've read the internet.
I've read the internet before.
Let's see.
I'm gonna actually pull up the articles. I can read you guys the ones that.
These are kind of boring. Doo-doo.
Pumas are cats, not pigs.
Boars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's.
You were just going on a different riff.
Yeah.
I'm like, meet me on this third plateau of dream sequence of joke.
I'm not good at puns because I'm not a pig.
Okay, so here's the
Oh.
here's the ones,
'cause I'm
Yeah,
never
stop
pigs.
hogging all of them.
and I'll show you guys the pictures that go with it.
Eh.
I go on and
Iguana.
tap it, but I have reptile dysfunction.
Oh my god.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh.
Cute.
This one's obvious. Look
Oh,
at all the fox I give.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Yeah.
Your qualifications are completely irrelevant.
Nice.
Irrelevant?
Yeah.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Are you kidding me right now?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Stand back or I'll beat you with my bare hands.
Oh.
Hey.
What is love? Baby,
Baby,
don't hurt me. You're such a cheetah. No, you're lying. Do you have water? I'm a little hoarse. This is my favorite one. Ready?
Okay.
Single and ready to flamingo.
Oh my god.
I got the moves like Jaguar.
Nice.
Nice.
Let me know what you think.
I once ate a minnow alive.
This is my
Really?
second.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's my second favorite one. Keep your friends close.
Your
Your enemies
enemies.
closer.
Oh my god.
An adventure? I'll pack up my bags.
I've seen that one.
Como te llamas?
Are you proud
Come
of
on,
me?
Laminos.
Are you proud of me?
You
You bet your
giraffe
giraffe. You
I
bet
am.
giraffe I am. Stop making me laugh. I'll
Oh,
poop my pants.
Dang it.
Anyway, that was my fun little.
That's great.
That was my fun little variety segment.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought a puma was what
Pumbaa is.
Pumbaa. I was thinking of Pumbaa.
It just right to that. It goes, when I was a young warthog.
Yeah, I was thinking warthog, boar, Pumbaa. Didn't I?
I-
It was not.
I see where the dots
gathered,
were connected.
I gathered that by your joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They
I
were
was
just
like-
invalid.
You know foosas are real animals in Madagascar? I thought it was just something that they called foosa, because like, oh, we don't know the word for this, but like, they're-
Who's Fusa?
have you seen Madagascar? There's like cat animals.
I can't.
Can I throw 2 fun facts
They only live in Madagascar.
about Black Panther? 2. Number 1 is 3 out of 5 of the supporting like extras weren't wearing shoes, and that was commentary on the current state of Africa. So they're all barefoot. Or 3 out of 5 people were barefoot.
Out of
2.
who? Out of
Of like the background, like just like casts and like extras. 3 out of 5 people were barefoot.
So, okay, so not 5 total. You were saying like 3/5 of
Yeah,
all.
so
like,
60% of all
Okay.
the extras were barefoot,
The other one?
which I think is really cool. The other one was I was at the Natural History Museum
that's not the
yesterday.
only commentary it's making?
That's it. That was the only commentary in the entire movie. And it came from a fun fact on Instagram from a fan account.
Shoe related.
Nice.
Second fun fact is I was at the Natural History Museum yesterday, and
Nice.
the comet that brought annihilation, the K2 extinction event that killed all the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, brought with it, there's like a high trace of this interplanetary metal called iridium.
Ooh.
And so it's kind of like, yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And it's very, very strong, and it's similar to platinum. It shines.
That's cool.
Yeah, iridium.
Imagine if it was the Platinum Panther. A very different movie.
That would be a very different movie.
Gone platinum.
It would be a cooler movie.
Oh my god.
The Plaid Panther.
So I think we
It's
should
like Pink Panther.
Oh, what do
I think we
It's
should
a
go
Scottish Panther.
Sponsor.
to our sponsor since we're running a little long, which is okay. We had some good things to say. Today's episode, we're really lucky to have been sponsored by Wakandan Wet Wipes.
Let me tell you,
Sometimes you're just feeling a little
It
dry.
always starts with "let me tell you."
I know. I think he's misunderstanding sponsor for salesman on behalf of the company.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what is.
Let me tell you.
Which I guess is what we are.
Sometimes you're feeling a little dry, down there. And you just need some wet wipes to lift your spirits up. And what better than Wakanda wet wipes?
But that's not all, because the wet wipes are not only used down there, you can use them anywhere.
But not after you use them down there.
Important.
You ever feel not so fresh?
I think Wakandan wet wipes are the export bbefore people knew that it was a highly intelligent.
They were just like, we got
technological
textiles,
cool
sheep.
clothes, wet wipes. We have
Wet
all our
wipes.
exports.
That's like their cover export product.
They're like, what are you hiding? You got us.
So-
We got wet wipes, actually.
I don't know if you guys know this. Vibranium is kind of sewn in between, like in very thin strips.
Key distinction between normal
It's a
wet
good
wipes.
wipe. It gets
So-
deeper than most.
It
When
actually-
you go down there, be careful.
It scrapes off the top layer of your skin, so you
Yeah.
feel really fresh. All that dead skin that's on the sides.
I was gonna say, am I the only one that uses wet wipes for something other than wiping my asshole? Like, why you guys
Yeah.
immediately go asshole?
Women use it all the time to wipe makeup off.
I got the
So-
alcoholic.
I
wet
was
wipes.
thinking like, your counter for the
Who
extra.
uses wet wipes for that? Not Wakanda wet
That's a
wipes.
paper, that's a paper
Yeah.
tea job.
That's
Yeah.
a paper tea job.
That's a paper. That's a paper. Just abbreviate towel.
The
What
PT.
Save time.
Should just call it a paper towel. At which point, why don't you just say
Paper towel.
towel?
There's an American version of wet
pea
wipes.
towel.
Not so great.
American wet wipes. I've never
Have you
used
heard
wet.
of dude wipes?
Mm-hmm.
No.
What?
It's like an InfoWars thing. It's so funny.
He was on Shark Tank.
Oh, I did hear about this.
They parodied it when they're John Oliver parodied it. That's what I was thinking. The InfoWars. Yeah, it's like you want to be a man, use dude wipes because it's strong enough for a man. Like,
Yeah, no, I think it's like scented or something like musky scent after you do your do.
Dr.
You
Pepper?
don't want to put anything scented, by the way, in your private parts. Just saying.
It's all alcoholic. It's
What about
it's just
candles?
Straight absorption.
No, I know people do it, but no.
Interesting.
I don't think I've actually ever used a wet wipe to wipe my butthole.
Me neither.
Really?
I'm scared that they're alcoholic. That there's something there that's gonna just
My family, I don't think we ever owned wet wipes.
Is it wet wipes?
Besides,
or wet
like
ones?
when you're a baby.
Like,
Yeah.
The brand is probably Wet Ones.
Yeah.
You just name it.
I feel like if I put them on my face,
I don't
would
think I
start
want
to
something.
break out.
Hey, hand me a wet one. It's like, no, it's like hand me a
Hey.
Wakanda
Give me a
wet
minute.
wipe. Hand me a Wakanda wet wipe. That's what I want.
Yo, miss me with those wet ones, alright?
Miss me with that wet ones.
That's a funny song.
Side note. That's like the perfect song. You play that song, and I don't care who you are. Everyone that's listening just starts going,
Which song?
King's Dead. It starts with "Miss me with that bullshit." It's
yeah.
It I don't like everyone. You can do a test. Just starts going. And I don't think I've ever noticed that with a song before.
That's awesome. Trent is asking, what's the corporate slogan of Wakanda Wet Wipes?
What kind of wet wipes get you wet and then dry?
You'll never freeze with Wakanda wet wipes.
I like it.
I wish they were had something to do with your head, because then the corporate slogan could be vibranium for your cranium. But as it stands,
you
it can be
can wash your hair with them. That's what I was saying.
Vibranium?
You can go anywhere.
for your anus.
The Royal Guards don't even need a shampoo. They just take a wet
A
one.
wet
They're
wipe,
just
yeah.
going
Vibranium for
back.
your uranium.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, I did it,
I like
guys.
it.
Do we think they also materialize like the
table.
Black
What?
Panther armor?
What?
Like
Oh,
you
you
just
just, like,
materialize wet ones? Yeah. You have a little marble or something, and it just spits out wet wipes for when
You
you
just
need to-
put it there,
For
and
when
then
you really need it.
folds out.
for all those impromptu dangerous ass wiping scenarios.
Hey, listen. Sometimes you've been there a while, and you're like, I don't want the PT. I don't want that paper tee.
That
Right?
paper tee.
I need to guarantee.
The pea towel.
Especially if you have the wipers. You know what I'm talking about? The ones you have to use a lot of paper towel or
It's
toilet
like a
paper
marker
for.
down there.
I was about to make that joke.
Yeah.
The vibranium just wipes it clean
It's just
off.
it's
you need
one.
just
You wipe again, it's smooth.
It's done.
It's clean.
It even takes your next bathroom break out. It's like no. We'll just get this out now.
So what's the corp? Do we decide
So
on?
I think you only need one wipe.
What kind of
one
wet
wipe?
wipes? You only need
And
one.
then they also have that test in the infomercial where they wipe a second time, they eat off it. They wipe a second time. It's so clean, you lick it, you're good.
Guys, this made me think of the best show, Wakandan QVC. Like that would be the most incredible. What's the garbage that they hawk to their population on their version of QVC?
Probably those sandals. Like sandals.
As seen on TV, sandals.
This next
You
item.
know what that called them? Sneakers.
Yeah. This next item, we
Yeah.
only have one question. What are these? Oh man. Doug says.
I love the beads though that they have.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Like those, like just if you were.
It's a little bit of, so those beads can do everything.
Yeah.
Well, remember
Hey.
that phone that they were making that was like compartmentalized? So if you want more battery, you just put in a double battery thing. If you want this or a camera, you slide it in, like build your own, kind of like a Lego. It's kind of like that for the beads, doesn't it feel like? Like take this one, take this
To
one,
do this,
communication
this,
bead, yeah.
Doug says the only wet wipes that won't get stuck in your claws. That's a pretty good slogan.
Ooh.
Did he spell it like claws or like Claw the villain?
Like claws. Missed
Yeah.
opportunity. Damn you, Doug.
They're so
damn it,
strong,
Doug.
you won't scrape yourself with your claws.
He also says, take care of yourself so sure he doesn't have to fix any more wipe people.
Oh.
Well played, Doug.
Well played.
Doug redeemed. Doug
Nice.
fell, Doug redeemed.
Do Wakandan wipes works? Sure he can.
Oh,
Hey.
that's it. Game over.
Done.
That's it.
Done.
Settled.
The podcast
like
is
it. I
over.
like
That's it.
Have a
Go
good
on.
night, y'all.
Everybody go home. All right, should we conclude with our signature improvisational sign-off?
Sure.
Dana, 3, 2, 1.
Why am I always first?
That's your sign-off.
I know.
Derek, 3, 2, 1.
Wipe. Just one wipe. It's so clean. You wipe again, you lick it.
Jack, 3, 2, 1.
Wakanda forever.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Damn.
That's a good one.
3, 2, 1.
Paper tea, paper me.
Oh. Or pea towel.
Stop winking.
Stop winking.
Shred the fresh pow pow.
Thanks for
Shred
joining,
the
guys.
arm.
Pow
Thanks,
pow, I
guys.
like that. Thanks for joining, guys. That was a little bit of a longer episode than we're used to, but it was good. I think we had a lot of good insight. Join us next
movie.
week, same time,
Same
same
place.
setup.
We'll probably
same
just talk
place.
about Black Panther again.
Yeah.
We did order we're
Pizza.
about to order a dining room table, so we will actually have a proper table to do this. Hopefully.
Yay! We finally got
By
a
next week?
table.
Probably not next week.
No,
but
it'll be the week after.
probably the week after.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you for joining.
Bye.
See you on the flip.